welcome. Happy Sunday. Well, wherever you are, welcome you. So, this is another week. We're going to talk about, this is Make Peace with Food, and we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about, what are we going to talk about today? Let me, oh yeah, today we're going to talk about how dieting actually can affect your metabolism. So how dieting actually screw up your metabolism and of course ultimately your self-confidence. So sorry. Forgot about where I was at. Anyway, so that's what we're going to talk about. But before I get started, I would love to invite all of you who are interested, for especially those of you who are tired of losing weight and regaining the weight over and over again, tired of like trying another diet that failed. Because I'm going to explain why, how dieting works or how it doesn't work. But if you're interested, I'm starting a 5-day challenge next week. It's called a Refresh Renew 5-day challenge for people who are struggling with weight loss over the years, trying everything under the sun and nothing seems to work, and you're like bang your head on the wall, like what's wrong with me? If you want to learn a way that actually help you lose weight, feel good physically and mentally, this is a challenge for you. It's only 5-day challenge and it's free and anyone can join. So you'll find the link in my comment and on Instagram side. I'll add that comment later. Actually, the link is in my bio. So that's the announcement. So if you're interested, hop over to a link later after this. So let's get started. We're kind of running late, but it's okay. All right. So so dieting. So when it comes to dieting for weight loss, really the only solution right now everyone recommending is you need to exercise more, you need to cut back on calories. And the reason why I'm so passionate about this topic, about helping women, especially women struggling with weight loss for years, is I get to see a lot of this patient every single day in my clinic. Like women struggling with weight loss, sometimes 20, even men too, but mostly a lot of women. And I'll explain why more women than men. But a lot of these people struggling with weight loss for 20, 30 years. Some of them struggling with weight issues since they're little. And a lot of them were referred to me because the doctor just don't know what to do. And these women, what really happened is that they try all this diet out there, right? Everyone says cut your calories, start exercising more. So a lot of these women were eating like under 1,000 calories or sometimes 12,000 calories a day and working out 2 hours every day, and they're still not losing the weight. And when they're working out with the supportive husband or the boyfriend, and they're losing weight, and they're like, how come they're doing exactly the same thing as me? And I keep gaining weight even though I'm starving every day, exercising super hard. And and also, then when they're like, maybe something's wrong with me because everyone seems to be losing weight. Because, when you go to social media, that's kind of the part where social media is not going to be helpful in that they show all these people doing all kinds of different diet and losing weight, and you look at yourself like, oh my god, what's wrong with me? So they go to the doctor, they get all the tests done, the thyroid, cholesterol, CMP, everything, get everything done, everything comes back normal. And the doctor's like, nothing's wrong with you, you just need to exercise more and stop eating so much. That's what usually a doctor tells them, right? So then after a while, they're like, you know what, it still doesn't work. So the doctor's like, okay, go to see the dietitian. So then they get referred to me. So I have a whole story about that, but I don't want to spend time talking on that today. But that's kind of the type of patient that I see, and me as a provider, initially I was struggling with that, but then after a few times and doing some deep digging into research and stuff, then I realized that you know what, we've been giving all our patients the wrong advice. Restrictive calories or calorie deficit dieting just doesn't work. And here's the reason why. And I really don't understand. I'm a conventionally trained dietitian. I'm a registered dietitian. That means I train just like any other registered dietitian. But it felt like when I was in school, we're um, just stuffed how to treat patient based on their diagnosis. But even though we're taking so many biochemistry class, biology, chemistry, and all of those, we were never taught to really learn to problem solve. We're taught to just memorize. Okay, you have diabetes, this is the diet to follow. You have heart disease, this is the diet to follow. You have kidney disease, this is the diet to follow. Even though we're supposed to understand how disease manifestation, how different food and diet affects the disease, how it slow down disease progress or things like that, but we were never taught to actually think deeper. And now, of course, back then we don't have all this junk food as available as now, and I think people are um, kind of different back then. Like we're not as busy, we're eating a bit healthier than nowadays. But back then, just cutting back on calories and exercising more seemed to work. But nowadays, it's totally different because I've been in this business for like 20 years. So, but anyway, um, yeah. So the idea is that so let's just start with the conventional recommendation of cutting calories and exercising more. The whole purpose is really to create calorie deficit. It's kind of like how you drain your bank account, right? If you have $10,000 in your account, to drain that account, you just have to find ways to use that money as fast as possible. So that's how conventional wisdom or conventional wisdom of weight loss or the calorie deficit um, recommendation comes in. It's just based on the idea that hey, if you are overweight, that means you have too much calories, too much fat on your body. If we just make you burn that off and not put any more in, then your weight should come off. That's the conventional wisdom based on. But then the thing is, what this conventional wisdom does not consider is two things in there. Is that so the conventional wisdom basically thinks that you're just a glass, right? You pour so much water in, and then that's only so much water is gonna come out, right? Let's take a sip of water anyway. By the way, it's green tea if you're wondering why it's this color. Um, yeah, so that's what the conventional wisdom um, assume is that your body is an empty vessel. 10 calories, 1,000 calories go in, 1,000 calories comes out. But the problem, or not the problem, but the reality is that this human body, every part of this human body is actually um, the result of a lot of biochemistry. So that means that a calorie in does not equal to a calorie out. And the thing is, the whole purpose of this human body, any human being on this earth, the reason that we outlast many endangered species is that we're the smartest species on earth. And the reason why is that we're a survival machine. Our brain, our body, everything is meant for survival. So what happened is anytime you go on a calorie deficit diet, whether intentionally or unintentionally, your body go into what we call starvation mode. People call it different mode, stress mode, starvation mode, but anything. Anytime your body senses that there's not enough food coming into this system, it triggers an alarm or or trigger a red flag because not having enough food is a stressful event. Because just a couple hundred years ago, people actually can die from starvation, not having enough food. Because just a few hundred years ago, not eating enough, not having food available is actually a problem. There actually today, nowadays, there's still people in this country, yes, in the United States where people do not have enough food to eat. I just saw a patient who told me, a 20-year-old patient last week, who told me he grew up so poor. He always only have one meal to eat at school. And when he joined the army, it's the first time he ever have 3 meals in a day for him, and he just stuffed himself. So, so there are people even in society nowadays that there's not food, not enough food. So, so when your body senses that there's not enough food, and it doesn't have to be complete starvation, like absolutely no food at all, but even just cutting back on calories, and there are studies to support that. But today I'm not going to talk about those studies because it was something that I've talked about before. So, um, but anyway, so when your body senses that there's not enough food, this is, I'm talking about more of a consistent basis, like not just like once in a while or things like that, but like consistently for weeks and months, and then you go back to regular eating, and then you start the dieting again. So, but anyway, so when your body's not eating enough, your body goes into a starvation mode. That's what we label it for now. Starvation mode. So your body's like, high alert, we need to conserve, conserve, conserve. So when that happens, what your body does is actually it shut down some unnecessary body functions, so like digestion, immunity, yeah, digestion, immunity, fertility, and then probably stop making some of the calming hormones and make hormones that bring chemicals that make you go on full alert because you're like, okay, there's no food coming in. We need to go high alert looking for food. So for those of you who have starved yourself many, many times in the name of dieting and trying to lose weight, you might have experience where when you're really hungry, you try to suppress your hunger, excuse me, but more you suppress your hunger, it seems like your sense of food or your thoughts about food become stronger. And people don't talk about this kind of things usually. But a couple of weeks ago, I was in the hospital walking to a patient's room because this patient just have a major abdominal surgery, so he cannot eat. And actually, he hasn't eaten by mouth for like a couple of weeks by the time I saw him. Um, I just took over him for one of the other dietitian. So he's on something called CPN. Basically, it's IV nutrition. So we stick an IV line into his arm, in the arm all the way through towards the heart to feed him nutrition. So it hasn't even eaten for a long time. So first day I walk in, I was like, "Hey, how are you doing?" He's like, "I'm starving. I've been thinking about food the last week or whatever." So I was like, "Oh, that's a really good good um, sign that you're actually maybe ready to get some food, but actually it's not." But anyway, so when your body hasn't had food for a long time, it actually makes you start thinking about food more often. And it's something that I see over and over again in the hospital when I walk into a patient's room and they're not allowed to eat anything by mouth because the intestine is kind of broken or just have a big surgery and they're on this TPN. When I walk in, it's just kind of interesting. Everyone is watching Food TV Network. So I was like, oh, okay, I guess you can watch that TV and have the IV, the TPN infusing and just fantasize how delicious those food taste in you while you're getting fat through the IV. So yeah, during starvation mode, your body not only changes how it burns calories, but it also changes your mind and stuff. And there's studies to show that. But anyway, starvation mode. People think that so there are some ideas of people out there thinking that starvation mode is the cause of weight gain, but no, that's the reason why I have this whole talk today is to explain all of that. So during starvation mode, your body drop metabolism, right? So let's go back a little bit. The regular conventional nutrition advice to cut calories, exercising more, to create calorie deficit to lose weight. So the two assumptions that are wrong in that recommendation is number one, that recommendation assumes that when you cut calories intake, your body's metabolism stays the same. So if that's the case, then you're going to have this gap of deficit, right? And you should lose weight. So that's number one assumption. Number two assumption is that when you cut calories, have that deficit, your body will automatically turn to fat to burn as calories. And that's a wrong assumption because fat is actually gold and diamonds in your body. It's like your body when it's in the starvation mode, knowing that it's existent, it's being fed. All that fat or the gold is actually being locked in the vault, kind of like the bank locked into this highly secure thing, especially when your insulin level is high. So when that happens, the fat is all locked up, but then you're not putting food in, right? So then what else is available for to use as energy to keep us going? Protein. So your body start breaking down protein tissue, either from your muscle or from your organ tissue. So we already know when you drop your calories or drop your intake, your body starts shutting down certain organ functions. So now when your body's like, hey, we really need food, can I borrow some of that protein on the intestine or from the stomach or from the heart muscle or things like that? And people don't believe that, right? Because one of the things with eating disorder like anorexia nervosa, one of the reasons why these people can die is not because they run out of gas. It's usually they die because of heart um, dysfunction. Because when they're so malnourished to the point that the heart cannot beat, that was the time that a lot of them die from. It's not because of starvation, but because of the heart muscle weakness caused by the starvation. So, um, yeah, and a lot of times, patients with eating disorder or anorexia nervosa, they're usually admitted to the hospital um, when the heart stop to function properly. That's usually the time that they're being admitted to the hospital. So, so yeah, the body do use things that whatever that they can use to try to keep the fat as long as possible. So anyway, so that's the assumption of that recommendation of a low calorie or calorie deficit diet is that it the assumption is just not not quite scientific. Okay, okay. Next thing is, so how does it affect your metabolism, right? Okay, so when you usually have 2,000 calories, right? So typical women, average size women, not super active, just kind of doing usual thing, say 2,000 calories a day is our standard. But then the recommendation is that, oh, in order to lose 1 pound of body fat, you need to cut 500 calories a day. So 2,000 calories, you cut your calories intake to 1,500 calories a day, right? So you're thinking, yeah, 500 calories, 500 negative calories, I should lose the weight. But then the thing is, again, the first fallacy of that recommendation is that your body metabolism remains the same, but we know it is not true. So instead of like still functioning at a 2,000 calories expenditure a day, your body actually bump down metabolism by shutting down body function to match you at the 1,500 calories. So for some of you who are what I call diet naive, like you're still maybe a teenager or early 20s trying to lose weight the first couple of times, this works perfectly. Like when you're diet naive, you can actually still lose weight pretty easily by cutting calories, right? But it's like usually the fifth, sixth, or 10th time that you diet that is going to mess you up. And this is the reason why. This is the reason why your weight keeps coming. You keep losing and gaining weight, losing and gaining weight. So when you go from 2,000 calories, you cut back 2,000, your metabolism goes back to 2,000. And you know what happens when the people get to the goal weight, right? What do you think people do when they get to a goal weight? Most people are like, oh yeah, I get to the goal weight, I fit into a bathing suit, or I fit into my wedding dress, so my mission is accomplished. So I'm just gonna go back to my normal eating. So they go back to 2,000 calories a day. But then the thing is, your body's metabolism right now is staying here because your body's like, hmm, I'm kind of suspicious. I don't know. I don't know when this starvation thing's gonna happen again. Let's just stay here for a little bit, right? So then now you're eating 2,000 calories, which was your normal that you've been eating for this whole time, right? But then now your body's kind of stuck at a 1,500 calories diet. So then now you have that extra 500 calories each day now. that your body's not using. So what do you think that your body's using? Or go and do what that extra 500 calories you're putting in. That 500 calories now become a surplus. And because your body's not using it, there's no purge button in your body that's like, poof, and then dump it all out. So that 500 calories now turns into storage. And the way your body stores fat is to turn everything into fat baggages, and then tow it away, usually around the belly area first, and then onto your liver, then gets onto your butt, your thighs, your arms, then your face, your cheeks, and everything, right? So that's what happened when you try to cut back calories to lose that weight that you want. And then over time, you do 2,000 calories burning a day, and then you drop calories, and then your body drop, then you go back to normal eating, then you're like, you know what, last time I did 500 calories didn't work. Let's go even lower. Let's do 1,000 calories a day, right? So now your body's like, okay, we need to go keep matching it, like do 1,000 calories. Then you're like, okay, this worked a little bit. Then you go back to your normal eating of 2,000 calories, but your body's still at 1,000. So that now you're like, okay, this is not working. Let's keep dropping my calories. Then your body just keep dropping. So over time, your metabolisms, remember, start out at 2,000 calories of expenditure a day, now went down to 1,000 calories. But not just that, not just your metabolism slow down, but your energy level slows down because you're like, your body's shutting down things, not burning stuff. So it's like, oh my God, you feel tired, you feel moody because you're not eating enough, because you're trying to suppress your appetite, suppress your eating. So you're not only are you low on energy because you just not have enough food to run a lot of the chemical reaction, but you're also missing out on important um, nutrients to make the brain calming chemicals. So that's what something I started realizing is that every single one of my patients who comes to see me for weight loss, every single one have anxiety and depression. And part of that is because when you're not eating enough and only eat the food that you crave for, you're eating the wrong calories, right? Then you don't have the nutrients to make the calming brain chemicals. Plus, your body is already in that stress state where it's in a fight or flight state, like anxious, like I'm ready to run. Let me know when I'm ready now. Let me know when we have to run, right? So that's where your body is. So you have that all that anxiousness, but not enough brain chemicals to help you calm down. So the way to think of it is think of your body kind of like your smartphone, right? So your default state, low energy level, default state is negativity. This is the time when you have the most negative thoughts and always think of the worst case scenario. Doesn't that sound like anxiety? So it's basically because your body is starving, your body is like anticipating stress, anticipating the worst, thinking that if I'm getting ready, the worst thing happen, I'm ready to go fight or flight or freeze, right? So that's what happened when you're in starvation mode. And then how about psychologically? What's this doing to you? Oh wait, actually that's not the end yet. So now, so when your metabolism drop because you're not eating enough, trying to suppress your appetite, suppress your hunger and all of that, then and then your body shutting down body function. The other thing also happens to you, not only are you experiencing low energy level, low mood, and more anxiety and depression, but you're also experiencing a lot of body issues like aches and pain, fatigue, um, a lot of things that are very similar to autoimmune disorder. So like autoimmune disorder nowadays, there's like about 80 to 100 something different of those diagnoses. But basically, scientists and doctors still kind of baffled with not really sure what it is because most people suffering from autoimmune disorder, when they go to a doctor, all the tests come back so squeaky clean. So then they think that is the auto body immune system is confused, so it start to break down its tissue because it thinks that the organ is like a foreign object, so it start to digest itself. But actually, what really happens is when you're consciously cutting back on calories, exercising a lot, restricting calories, restricting intake, starving yourself. Remember we mentioned about like when your body not getting enough calories, it shut down certain organ function, and when it's not getting enough food over a long period of time, it start breaking down protein. So the autoimmune system is actually part or one of the many results of not eating enough. So when your body's not eating enough for a long period of time, yo-yo dieting for years, 10, 15, 20 years, or even 30 years yo-yo dieting, your body eventually figure out that, you know what, some body function just really not necessary. And we see a lot of women suffer from like infertility, autoimmune disorder because your autoimmune or any kind of immune disorder, like more suddenly they're allergic to a lot of food, have skin rash and things like that. So it's basically your body just breaking down organ tissue to use it as energy. It's kind of like self-digesting or like the body eating itself to keep itself alive. Um, and then the question is that people ask, so some people get confused thinking that the starvation mode is what caused them to gain weight. It is not true. The starvation mode doesn't cause you to gain weight. The starvation mode only makes it harder to lose the weight because it is slowing the metabolism down and locking the fat into the back store as long as possible to try to extend survival. So starvation mode itself doesn't cause weight gain. It's just that when you're in starvation mode and then you starve yourself long enough and then you flip into the binge eating mode. Because most people, like if you look at a lot of the World War II concentration camp pictures, these people are in constant starvation mode. Like they don't have binge eating in between. These people are constantly lack of food. So they just go into starvation mode initially when they still have some body fat left on the body. So the body preserve and preserve, but then they get to the point where most of the muscle tissue are gone and the body has to use the fat store, and that's when they start get to a point where they just skin and bones. But for most of the people that are here watching or coming to see me, these people don't have that issue. We have access to food. The problem is when you go into that starving mode to try to lose weight, and then after a while, you go back to your old eating habits. So eating is like, okay, binge, restrict, binge, restrict, binge, restrict. It is this cycle that keeps you from losing weight and keep piling on the weight. So it is not the starvation itself that caused the weight gain. It is the pattern of your eating, going on and off dieting, that what causes it. So there's totally different. But on the other hand, someone who have anorexia nervosa, which is actually a mental disorder, these people, um, because it's a mental disorder, they're able to just starve themselves for months and not have a binge episode at all. Most people who goes on starvation dieting always ended up binge eating. So the cycle started with like you start out like, oh, I want to go on diet, right? So you cut back a couple hundred calories a day. Then after a while, you're like, oh yeah, I get to my goal weight now. So you're like, okay, I can let loose and eat whatever I want. Then you want to go on to another diet, so you restrict again. But over time, when you start to be initially, you're able to lose that weight really easily. First couple of times you lose weight is so easy, especially in teenagers. I see that all the time. Like teenagers, they can lose the weight so quickly when they just change the way that they eat and start eating less. So, but after like the 10th time, your body metabolism is just so messed up. So you make yourself go even lower on calories, exercising even more. So even though you might be eating 1,000 calories a day, but then you're working out 2 hours a day, so you probably net 500 calories a day. So when you restrict and then with so much restriction, most normal people will end up binge eating because we're like, oh my God, I'm just starving, starving, starving. When you starve yourself, it's kind of like a rubber band being stretched really long. So you go starving, 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 and then snap, and then you binge. Then when you binge, you just that binge eating is so emotionally damaging because when you binge and eat, and nobody ever binge on carrots or broccoli and things like that. People binge on things that they're not allowed to eat, cookies, crackers, chips, and things like that. And they eat a huge amount because, and just understand that when you binge on food like that, there's nothing wrong with you. You did not choose to do that. It is your brain and your biology, your your instinct or innate human instinct make you do that. It is not you who's doing that. It's the inside. Because I see that all the time. People so that binge eating, that out of control binge eating is so emotionally damaged. I just saw a girl like that. I just felt so bad. I keep reminding her, you didn't do anything, nothing wrong. You shouldn't be ashamed of it. It's just the fact that your body is starving, so your biology and your brain is making you to do that. So when you're binge eating, you eat too much of the wrong food, and that makes you feel like such a bad person. You blame yourself. You tell yourself that I shouldn't have done that. You should know better. Like I can't believe you do that. You're such a bad person. Like you don't deserve to have anything. So then they punish themselves with not eating for 3 days. The next 3 days, right? Then again, that 3 days of not eating put them into another binge. So you get into this whole restrict and binge cycle, and it's all driven by emotions. Nothing of this is driven by logic, right? So then over time, all these negative thoughts, when you binge eat, you have this negative thoughts in your head. Then when you go restrict again and do this whole cycle and nothing works, nothing seems to move the number on the scale, then again you blame yourself again, like, oh my God, I can't believe that, like, I've been eating like so clean, I've been working out every day and nothing is working on the scale. Like I'm such a loser, I'm such a failure, nothing's gonna work for me. So it becomes like a self fulfilling prophecy of like, okay, nothing works, nothing works. So you're like, you you know what? Might as well just give up. I'm such a bad person. I'll never lose the weight. I'll just might as well just eat, 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 and eat until whatever, right? So that's how it. That's really how calorie deficit dieting damage your metabolism and that damage your self esteem and also your relationship with food because again when you restrict yourself for so long and then you snap and just overeat and binge on all this junk food, then you just automatically like right away, like without pause, your body start or your brain start telling you all the negative things, how bad a person you are, how not deserving a person you are, you don't deserve a space on this earth, you're a piece of shit and all those things just start coming into your head and you just keep doing that a couple of times, you just become so depressed because you just felt like such a piece of human garbage that doesn't deserve a space here because you're like, everyone else is losing weight except me. Like, what is wrong with me? I'm just not good enough. I'm not motivated enough. I'm not disciplined enough. So I just don't not deserve to be a human being, right? So then you suppress all that feelings. But the thing is, the other thing, I'm going to add another thing about this whole conventional um, dieting recommendation is that number three thing is, the number three assumption is that every single one of us have the same body, have the same metabolism, have the same reaction to food, have the same environment. That's the third assumption that is wrong, is that we're all the same. You know, when you go to a clothing store or go to the mall and buy clothes, you don't go into the store and everyone wears the same clothes, right? Like clothing manufacturer knows that every single one of us is different. Every single one of us have different tastes, different liking of the texture, and different color preference, and have different size. So they make clothes of different design, different color, different material. and even different purpose. Like now you see me always in tank top because it's freaking hot here in Hawaii, right? But if I'm in somewhere like in Chicago or somewhere on the West Coast or in California where it's a little bit colder, like especially San Francisco, you might see me wearing something a little bit thicker, more covered up, right? So clothing industry, clothing manufacturer knows there are different ways to wear clothes. And some people wear clothes to make themselves feel good. Some people wear clothes to just have something to cover themselves. But then when it comes to medicine or the medical recommendation, everything is just one trick pony. You need to lose weight, here's a diet. You have diabetes, your blood sugar is high, here's the diabetes diet. You have heart disease, here's the heart healthy diet. Like before I understand all of this stuff, I used to see all these people in the hospital with diabetes, and I was like, I don't understand why. Like, you have diabetes, why are you drinking soda and juice all day long? Like, didn't you know that you're not supposed to do that? But now I understand this so much better. Is because when it comes to making choices with eating, it's not logical. In fact, none of the decision that we make in life is 100% logical. Like 80% of the time we make all of our choices is based on the emotions and psychological, and then maybe 20% is logical, and then part of it is like brain chemistry or body chemistry as well, but that's another different talk. But yeah, so basically having just one diet to fit everybody does not work. And that's why there's so many fat diet out there, because there's always someone who try on the ketogenic diet, intermittent fasting, Mediterranean diet, paleo, whatever diet, low fat, high fat, blah blah blah. Any of those diet, there's always someone that it works for them, but might not work for you. And this is the reason why I created this 5-day challenge, the Refresh Renew 5-day challenge, is to help you understand your body better. Because if you look at people who have a healthy body and a healthy lifestyle, or even people who lost the weight and kept it off, you'll never see these people go on crazy diet. They just eat food that fits their body, and they have activities that makes them healthy. Like again, I'm a registered dietitian with over 20 years of experience. I've seen adult kids, outpatient, inpatient settings, sick, not sick, all different kind of patient. And what I've seen over and over again is people who are struggling with weight loss because of all these years of dieting, following someone else's recommendation, following other people's diet, counting calories, measuring out food, following meal plans, they lost that basic instinct of listening to the body. So a lot of times when they come to see me, they're like, "Oh, I'm not hungry." So then they don't have that. It's not because they're really not hungry. It's just that the brain lost that connection to witness hunger, to listen to a hunger signal. So the body might actually be still making the hunger signal, but that hunger has been suppressed for so many years because we're all taught that, oh, you try to lose weight, but when you're hungry, just eat popcorn, just drink water, go work out, go do something to ignore that hunger, right? So if you do that for like 10 years, of course your body's like, oh, why even mention hunger when I'm gonna be suppressed, right? Or with the binge eating thing, they they just, again, it's all that learned behavior of suppressing hunger and fullness. So a lot of my patients don't know when to stop. They either eat until all the food in front of them is empty, even though what's in front of them is like a whole large pizza. They'll eat until that pizza is gone to signal them that, with that visual, to signal them that it's time to stop eating. Or some of my patients, when they come see me, they'll eat until they cannot eat another bite of food. That's their signal to tell themselves to stop eating. So all of that learned behavior that you learned from following all those crazy diet over the years and suppressing yourself from working with your body. So in the 5-day challenge that I'm inviting you all into is where you're going to learn to listen to your body again. And that's going to take time to relearn, because just like how you learn to suppress your hunger and your appetite and all that, you can unlearn all of that bad behavior and start listening to your body. Because the really only way for you to lose the weight and keep it off forever and be happy and have confidence and feel amazing in yourself every single day is really to understand your body and listen to this body. And I know many of you out there will say something like, I just hate this body. But you know what? This is the thing. This is the body that you're born with. This is the body God gives you. Nothing you can change to it. You might be able to do surgery and stuff, but just just try to love it. When you love this body, you'll start doing loving things to it. It's kind of like if you have kids or pets or a car, when you love that thing so much, you do the best to give it the best, right? So you have to learn to love your body. That's another thing that we'll also try to work on in the 5 day challenge is doing things that makes you love your body. So a lot of times people exercise like intensely, torturing the body to try to lose weight. But what I see a lot of times is when the patient come to see me, they have so much injury because the body, first of all, is starving and breaking itself down. But then when they're doing all this intense exercise while they're starving the body never have the chance to recover or get stronger. So over time, many of these patients come to see me have broken back, broken ankle, broken femur. That was the most intense one. Is her leg was actually broken while she was doing PT with her unit, and she tripped and fell, and she broke her femur. That was crazy. I thought she fell off some stairs or something, but she said, no, I just fell, like just standing and fell. So that tells you how damaging dieting can do to your body. Okay, so well, that's it for the day. I hope you learned a lot. And for those of you who are here or watching a replay, comment below. Let me know what you think or if you have any more questions. But again, I really, really love to have you guys in the Refresh and Renew 5 day challenge. Again, it's a 5 day free challenge where you're going to learn a lot about yourself. And part of the challenge, what like I'm really excited about this challenge because I put out a lot of like fun activity to get you to do something fun to design your own weight loss journey. You're gonna have so much fun doing this because I have a lot of fun designing it. So hope to see you inside, and you will find the link in the comment or in my bio in the Instagram. Hi. So thank you very much, everyone, for being here today. So I'll see you next week again. Okay. Bye.